do it. We are live. Hello. Welcome. Oh, let me get a little more volume. I feel like my volume was a little low. Come on back. Greetings. Thank you guys for being willing to get in this live stream early today. I have to go to work early because I have something to do tonight. I have a date. So decided to start the live stream early, which I actually may end up doing more on a regular basis, having it a little earlier in the day. Everybody please hit the like button so we can get more people in the stream. Some people might have had their day timed to watch the 1 p.m. stream, and I'm sorry if that is happening to anybody, or maybe it's just not that big of a deal to some people. I don't know. Greetings to everybody. Greg, Anthony, TCR, CB, Natural Progressive. Natural Progressive scheduled her lunch around this. Thank you, Natural Progressive. I appreciate that. Lakin or Lockin, M. Hi, everyone. Philip. How you guys feeling today? I'm feeling rather good myself. I've been on a new schedule because things in my life kind of demanded that I create a new schedule for myself. So I've been getting up really, really early in the morning now. I wake up about 5:30 in the morning. I used to be one of those like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock kind of risers, and now for the past 2 weeks I've been a 5:30 in the morning riser. Which is actually kind of working out because I'm getting a lot more done. I'm actually working on finishing a project that has been a long time in the making, and the circumstances of everything that has happened in my life over the last couple of years has just totally derailed this project I was doing. And the project is an album, a music record, a recorded album about climate change that's kind of geared towards kids a little bit, but it's towards kids and adults. So I am working to finish this record, and I don't have the actual time yet, but hopefully I will announce like a release date for you guys soon. Forest Dweller, hello. The Dude, hello, thank you. Zoxolix, George, Magical Thinking Barbie, Simon. All right, y'all. Let's get into this. It's 11:03. So first off, actually, just as an order of discussion, I wanted to see what you guys felt about the Arctic News blog the other day saying, and I got the date wrong in the video, and I apologize. They were saying that we're going to have a 3-degree rise in temperature by 2021. So if it's starting from now in 2020, it would take, about 14 months or so to get to a 3-degree rise, which would be in 2021. My date does know about Black Bear. It's actually my girlfriend. I've been dating somebody for a little while, so she knows all about Black Bear News. She might actually be watching. Hello. Yeah, anyways. What do y'all think about this prognosis or prediction from Arctic News about 3 degrees in 2021? Zoxolix saying, watching the Bernie cheat in full swing. So I didn't watch the debate last night. Did y'all watch the debate? I didn't watch it, and I barely had time to actually get into the reviews of it. I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Tulsi, obviously Tulsi and Bernie being kind of blocked out of a lot of the discussion. But anyways, so back to this, back to the 2021 prediction. Y'all agree with this or don't agree? There seemed to be some debate in the comment section around whether people really believe this or not. 3C is really bad, Gazar says. Yeah. I mean, you know, our stability and, you know, normal life continuing to go forward for everyone is dependent on the fact that we don't have some kind of cataclysm, either economically or environmentally. And at 3 degrees, that's, you know, that is definitely a cataclysm. I don't know. I do think that the Arctic news tends to veer on the side of the worst possible, worst case scenario, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. They're basing that on science. It's just, you know, we just have a number of possible curves that we could take, right? You know, we could be 3 degrees by, you know, let's say curves that are based in reality, but we could be 3 degrees by, let's say at the very outside, 2035, right? I mean, I don't think it's going to take that long to get to 3 degrees. But let's say 2030, 3 degrees, 2025, 3 degrees, or 2021, 3 degrees. Those are kind of like the curves that I believe are very, very possible. 3C in 14 months is based on a blue ocean event, yes, or, you know, massive methane release. El Nino next year, yes, we will go way up. And that El Nino will release heat from the oceans. Also, you know, exacerbating the problem, adding to the positive feedbacks. Crops failing due to flooding already. Forest Dweller says he just shared the Arctic news with local politicians. Good on you, Forrest. Thank you, Natural Progressive, for the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And she says, remember, it's a super chat. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys think that is, you know, 50% likelihood, 80% not likelihood, 100% likelihood. I think that I have bothered a lot of this, you know, the super NTHE super doomer people off of my channel, because there used to be people that commented on the channel that were just like, you know, kind of in lockstep with the Arctic news and kind of like it's all over and stop talking about any kind of solutions. And I've been talking about, you know, Bernie and Extinction Rebellion and Greta Thunberg and, you know, talking about whatever possible solutions if they are only mental gymnastics. And I think some people are annoyed by that, but that, you know, I'm covering all things climate change, not just one aspect of it's all over, just go to sleep, or, you know, enjoy your life and go party down for the next 12 months. That's fine if that's what you want to think. I think there are other aspects to climate change than just that one message. But places like Louisiana and Miami are already flooding. We went off gold in the early 70s, Oxalix. I don't remember the exact year, 72, something like that. Forest Dweller says, you are banned. My comments are banned. Are you talking about from here? Because I see your comments. I don't know if you're not seeing your comments. Venice is obviously flooding. Predictions so far have been too light. Sultan Bev, hello. 7 p.m. UK time, so I guess that's a good time, right? Valhalla says, if you are counting on politics to solve the problem, I think you will be disappointed. I'm not counting on anything. I fully expect to be disappointed. So the thing is that, you know, I have some hope. Maybe that's ill-advised, or maybe that's, you know, maybe that's silly of me. I don't know. I can be silly. While we still have a functioning system, and while we have politicians and other people talking about trying to, you know, join forces or link arms or get together or overthrow or overwhelm or whatever, as long as people are able to do that, I'm totally and completely behind supporting that. As look, every single year that we have is a year that, that's a reprieve, and also time to, I look, there aren't any techno fixes out there that are really going to save us at the moment. Does that mean there's not going to be a techno fix next year or in the year after? Or, I mean, and I'm not saying that techno fixes are generally a good thing. I'm just saying, we could go really deep in this conversation. So what I wanted to do, thoughts about heliogen. I don't know what heliogen is, Marcia. It's either hopium or take opium. Philip says, I sometimes get to thinking that there's no use trying, but then I get over it and get back to trying to spread the message. I mean, politicians have a wait and see mentality, except for some who are raising their voices. One of those some are Bernie Sanders. Is he going to fix climate change or stop us from going over the falls? I don't think so, but I'm just, any step in the right direction, I think is going to, it's got to be taken. It's just the only, I'm in line with Roger Hallam's philosophy or whatever, worldview, if you want to say it. It's like, yeah, we're totally screwed. And if we don't do something, we're kind of assholes for not doing something. And, whether we're done or not, I just think we're kind of, it's kind of a shitty stance to take, like, well, that's it, goodbye. I've washed my hands of the whole thing. So I don't know. That's just my take. If you don't agree, that's fine. Whatever. What's going on, Forrest? Forrest is saying my mean pit bull is doing fine. Fuck you, too. I'm seeing your comments, man. Bill Gates backed company that came out of the closet yesterday. 20% reduction in carbon output. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't get the last word. The last word was a typo, I think. Please remember to like the video so that more people will see it. Bernie Tulsi 2020, that is my dream ticket. And that's the head explosion ticket. We need a citizens' assembly, says the Natural Progressive. Anthony Davis says, at least Bernie acknowledges climate change is in fact real. Trumpinski has no clue. Exactly. So what I wanted to just start the video off with asking you guys about that. And what I wanted to do in this video is kind of like walk through a bunch of headlines, just like throw a bunch of things out there for people to think about and talk about, and then maybe we'll zone in on a couple of things. But this is kind of be like a little rapid fire. What do y'all think about Greta walking the walk? And there is actually an article that just came out saying that because she takes actions that back up her thoughts and her statements, people are more apt to follow her and listen to her. When people talk about climate change but don't do anything about it, a la maybe Al Gore or other people or scientists that, don't back up their talk with their walk, people are not willing to listen to them, right? XR just went on hunger strike starting November 18th. What y'all think about that? Bernie's climate plan is the most far-reaching thing we have out there, and it's actually the thing he introduced the other day with AOC is an actual bill. It's actual legislation. It goes beyond the Green New Deal and actually putting something up for a vote. Another thought: if impeachment goes to the Senate, impeachment of Trump. So listen, guys, all you socialists out there, all you progressives, if impeachment goes to the Senate, it's going to lock up Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren in the Senate for about 6 weeks, right at the beginning of the caucuses and the primaries. How's that for a conspiracy theory, right? They started this impeachment thing, and the timing is probably the worst. It's either utter stupidity or really evil genius on the part of the Democratic establishment. Oh, here's something from the Democratic establishment side of things. The Patriot Act was just re-upped with the help of Democrats. So all the Dems that are like, resistance and, we've got to get Trump out of office, but we just renewed his powers to spy on people. Here's another one. None of the Democrats are talking about, except for Bernie Sanders, are talking about indigenous people being murdered in Bolivia. Where's the talk about that? I hear crickets from all Democrats and from mainstream news about indigenous people being murdered in Bolivia. Resistance, my ass. Food prices set to rise due to crop damage from flooding in the UK. And they haven't really said that much about that in the US, but that looks very, very likely considering the flood damage and the intense flooding that is still going on in the U.S. Liz Warren just had an interview where she says she supports Trump's policies in Venezuela. How's that for resistance? We hate Trump, get him out of here, but yet we support his policies everywhere around the globe. And that's another interesting point I wanted to bring up about Democrats, in that they only oppose Trump when he doesn't do what the military-industrial complex wants him to do, what all the advisors, all the military advisors and the intelligence community want Trump to do. When he does those things, they're totally fine with it. And when he doesn't do those things, that's when they get upset. Interesting. Just an interesting observation. I think it's interesting. Here's another headline. Buttigieg scammed people in South Carolina. He sent out an email claiming that he had all this backing from black leaders, and half of the leaders that he cited in the email were white. And the main people that were signatories on this email, or on this, supposed support for Pete Buttigieg, they said they didn't support him. They were on there. They said that he put their names on there against their will. And one of them was an actual Bernie Sanders supporter. Did you all hear that Epstein guards, the guards that were in charge of Epstein, were arrested this week? So it looks like instead of actually investigating the case about how he was murdered or what happened, they're going to just start like blaming people, right? They're going to blame the guards. They're going to arrest the guards. Maybe they'll, try and arrest his cellmate or put his, cellmate on trial or something. They're going to find somebody to pin the blame on for his murder, and not who the higher ups were that ordered his murder. Lastly, actually, I've got a couple more things. I want to just put this out there. There's been a lot of reports and actual confirmation about alien sightings from the military lately. What does that actually mean for climate change? Like, if there's, I just watched a video. It was from Jamal Thomas, saying basically, so if either aliens are here or we have advanced technology that a lot of people are not aware of, especially even people in the military are not aware of. And there have been a few people who have suggested that we, have the trillions of dollars that go missing from the defense budget every single year or over the last 10 or 15 years, that all of that money is going into these like super secret black ops budgets, and that there's this, wild advanced technology that's like 100 years past what we can even fathom. And that, possibly we're already, way out in space beyond where anybody can actually, they can't admit it yet. So if there are either aliens and they exist and they're making contact with us, or if we have this crazy black budget technology, this technology that's 50 years or 100 years beyond what anybody could possibly imagine, what does that mean for climate change? Does the military already have a solution for climate change and they're just not unveiling it? Or do they have the technology to deal with climate change and they're just not unveiling it? Or if aliens are really visiting us, what is, are they going to be like, hey, we got this, you guys, we got this thing, we could help you out if, whatever. If you take me to your leader. And lastly, Valhalla, in last week's live stream, brought up Professor Hoffman from Irvine. And there's a few other schools and scientists working on this idea that reality is a matrix, that we're not actually seeing reality as it truly is. And if this is true, what does that mean for climate change? Okay, so I just threw out a whole bunch of headlines and talking points. I'm going to read through some of your comments, and then I'm actually zero in on a couple of articles that I wanted to read. Natural Progressive says, listen to Snowden interview with Rogan. I did listen to that interview. It was great. Please hit the like button so more people can see this stream. I did listen to it. Yeah. There's 24-hour surveillance going on. They can hear everything. They can see they can hear everything you're saying. Your phone is a recording device. It's also, if they want to turn your camera on, they can turn it on. And again, the Patriot Act was just renewed. Also, consider this, that a lot of Democrats actually voted to expand the military budget for Trump. And they actually gave him more than he asked for. So I know that I'm repeating some talking points that that say maybe Jimmy Dore or some other channels might bring up, but I think these are very pertinent talking points. If there's such a resistance to Trump, if he's such a bad person, if he's such a horrible, commander in chief, if he's so crazy, and I actually believe that he is, why are you giving this dude more? Why is there more military budget? Why are you voting for? And Warren voted for this budget, by the way. Elizabeth Warren, a resistance leader that she is, progressive that she is, whatever. Bernie Sanders did not. Prince Andrew resigns from royal duty. Is that from today, Simon? If y'all, that's yet another crazy, there's just this onslaught of like news and crazy headlines going on. If anybody watched that interview, he pretty much implicated himself. Open mouth, insert foot. Prince Andrew looks guilty as anybody that's hung around Epstein. Sultan Bev says, aliens laughing at us from outer space. When we're 90% dead with no energy, they'll move in and take what little resources are left. Has anybody read the Octavia Butler book, Xenophobia? Or is that right? I'm sorry, not xenophobia. Xenogenesis, excuse me. Xenophobia is an actual thing and it's totally different. Xenogenesis is a crazy science fiction book by Octavia Butler, kind of dealing with exactly that. Like, we blow ourselves up. aliens who actually grow their own spacecraft, and they understand how to manipulate like biology as technology, and they land on Earth. They save some humans. They go back to Earth and they like regenerate life on Earth. It's a really great book. If anybody, it's one of my favorite books I've ever read in my life. So, if you think that matters or means anything, if you'll take my recommendation, suggest you read it. Sultan Bev says the elites are aliens. Anthony Davis says military solution is always war. Intergalactic CO2 sucking machine. That's what we need it. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm not here like saying like, yeah, it's cool, guys. Don't worry, the aliens are going to come down and save us. Like I would, that's just a wild idea, but it's a growing phenomenon that the military has come out with these sightings, and they've said, yeah, this is real. This is not. It isn't a weather balloon. It isn't fake. It isn't a glitch in the camera. Like we actually saw these things, and they've confirmed that. And and for the most part, the general population is kind of like, okay, like nobody's really like freaked out or like, oh my God, like everybody's pretty much like, all right. Like on some level, like everybody's like, yeah, I can accept that. It's fine. Netanyahu indicted today, says Magical Thinking Barbie. Another headline. And Netanyahu needs to be indicted. He needs to go. Sorry. Yeah, he needs to go. I'm glad this is happening. I'm happy to see it happening. He's pretty much a horrible leader. Zoxalis says Elizabeth Vos. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, or maybe you can jog my memory. Sultan Bev says jobs for the boys. Democrats voting more defense budget. Of course. The Democrats are not a resistance party on any levels. Everybody knows this. I'm not saying anything new. They are the establishment, and they are part of the fascist establishment, the fascist ruling class, and like you gotta. There are a few people trying to make inroads, and they are trying to make the Democratic Party some kind of party of the left again. They're very few in number, and you can name them all on one hand, probably. Maybe two. But the rest of the Democrats are establishment, bought and sold elites, and they serve the purpose. They serve the interests of the state, of the military-industrial complex, of the intelligence community. William Moy, hello. Astro Master says UFO sightings are same exact thing that happened in Disney's movie Flight of the Navigator, with the ship out flying jets and cutting through ocean water. This whole thing is straight out of that movie. Interesting. Well, actually, there's also one more theory around the alien thing. One more theory is that if you can make everyone believe on a mainstream paradigm level that aliens are real and they're here, the ruling elite or the people in control or the powers that be can pretty much control, right? They can control what you think about them, and they can kind of put everybody in a state of panic, right? If they were like, they're here, guys, we got to shut everything down, and we got to lock everything up, and we've got to, all the martial law stuff that people were, all the wingers were talking about during Obama's presidency, that Obama was ready to declare martial law and everything is going to be on lockdown. That actual thing, if there was some kind of like grand conspiracy to make everybody believe that aliens were here and we need to, now control everybody's lives as much as possible, that could be a tool. Thank you, Valhalla, for the super chat. I appreciate you very much. Valhalla, one of the OGs, one of the original viewers from all the way back when this channel started on another channel. There are a lot of aliens, and he assumes are good people. That's funny. Trump says space aliens are rapists. He would know, wouldn't he? CB Unglesby says really need a Labor Party. Natural Progressive says keeping corruption straight is a full-time job. Yeah, there aren't enough hours in the day to monitor the bots. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Like maybe that's what's going to go down. We're all going to be saved by some crazy military tech or some secret black budget tech, or the good-natured, the good-hearted aliens are going to come save us. Do you think that's going to happen? Val is a man. Actually, and my co-host. Actually, Val, yeah, I'm going to talk to you. I want to talk to you, buddy. I think it would actually be fun to have an interview with you, and let's talk about reality as a matrix, or something like that. I don't know if I have an email for you, so hit me up at blackbearnews@gmail or something, or if there's another way, because they don't have private messaging anymore on YouTube. Okay, so let's get into some articles. Going back to food prices, this is from strangesounds.org, which, sounds pretty legit to me as a news site. But why not? Food prices to skyrocket in UK as floods ruin crops, winter vegetables, and delay planting. But that is all actually happening, so this is based on real happenings. The latest floods in northern England have decimated crops, winter vegetables such as potatoes, cauliflowers, and cabbages, as well as delayed planting. 2019 wasn't a good year for the food industry, and it seems it will get even worse in 2020. Oh, they are going to cover the U.S. Flooding along the Missouri River has stretched on over 8 months now, and there's no end in sight. Meanwhile, that's all the sites. Meanwhile, the latest floods in northern UK have ruined crops, winter vegetables, and delayed planting. That flood analysts say food prices are set to skyrocket, and the trend has already begun. Official data released on Friday revealed a great deal of uncertainty around the fate of tenth of the country's potato crops as farmers count the cost of the deluge that has overwhelmed parts of South Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, and Midlands. There are increasing reports of crops being abandoned or farmers halting, lifting, but remaining hopeful that they might salvage something in the spring, said analysts at the Agriculture and Horticultural Development Board in their weekly update. With some potatoes rotting in standing water, the report adds there remains a great deal of uncertainty over the fate of the crop area yet to be lifted. An estimated 2 to 3% of the area is expected to have to be completely written off. So this could potentially be a really big deal this year. Of course, everybody keeping an eye on that. This could be an even bigger deal if this happens again next year and the next year. So if we get 2 years, possibly 3 years in a row of widespread crop damage. Where's the food going to come from? But I don't know. I haven't seen any recent reports in the U.S. around, what's happening with crop damage. Although I just read an article about, persistent flooding and or the inability to harvest this year. So I don't know. I don't know if they're just keeping that under wraps, or I don't know, or if there's just not a problem. I have no idea. Keep on liking this video, guys. Let's get some more viewers on here. We got pretty solid number. CB Unglesby says the sugar beet crop was lost this year. Anthony Davis says the shelf life of produce is very short. It just doesn't last very long on the store shelf. I have myself been noticing that when I go to the store that there are a lot of times when I walk into the store and there seems to be a lot of things gone, and I don't know if it's just a restock problem or if they're just having a hard time keeping up, or if it's just on demand, shipping being what it is. I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with that. Potato crop loss in USA, I think I recently heard Zoxalix. Natural Progressive says, look at farmer blogs or vlogs. They are all over. It's bad. I mean, that's what I've been seeing, and that's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that, there's problems. When will those problems kind of escape this little this little community of farmers and people on the internet and break into like mainstream acknowledgement, like, this is bad, or when the prices of things start going really high at the store, and then people start acknowledging like, oh, this is because the weather is all screwy. Food scientists say multi-bread basket failures 3 years in a row, famine in northern hemisphere. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, we probably have reserves for maybe 1 or 2 years, but 3 years, non good. Zoxalix said, I just tossed out probably $350 or so of canned goods, long expired. That is the problem. You can't keep things forever. You gotta have to keep your prepping fresh. Let's move on to last one. Gazar says 1,000 farmers giving up a week average in Europe. I don't know what that means. Sultan Bev, Peter Minton was talking about that today. Probably, most likely not a problem this year, but, just an inconvenience, or just, something that is going to bother people because the prices are so high. But, when does it really actually start to affect people on a large scale? Valhalla says famine doesn't sound pleasant at all, not one bit. Moving on to this next story. So around the XR hunger strikes, that's moving into some serious resistance or serious protests when people start going on hunger strikes. Activists stage protests at party HQs to push climate emergency onto the general election agenda. UK is going to have an election soon. A lot of people are making it all about Brexit. That is actually the issue that I think catapulted this election into being. Extinction Rebellion activists have begun hunger strikes outside a number of UK political party headquarters to push for more robust policies on tackling the climate emergency in a general election. The action, in which one group of demonstrators has occupied a lobby at the Labour Party's London headquarters, is part of a wider global Extinction Rebellion protest centered on a week-long hunger strike. So it's a week-long. I didn't know the actual extent of it. I knew it started on the 18th, and I didn't know how long they were going. The organization tweeted that hunger strikers would be outside all UK political party HQs all week, demanding leaders meet us and talk about our 3 demands bill. Impressive and brave. And I'm, it's still ongoing. So let's see if this has the effects that they are hoping for. This calls for governments to tell the truth about the extent of the climate emergency, to commit to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2025, and to stop biodiversity loss, to move beyond politics and address the issue via ideas such as the Citizens' Assembly. Ding, ding, ding on all counts. I mean, those are actions that are going to have to be taken if we have any chance. These are the actions. So they see this as a dire predicament as everyone else or anyone else, and they are putting themselves on the line for this. Labour confirmed that there were protesters at its headquarters but gave no other details. An Extinction Rebellion activist also targeted the Brexit Party headquarters on Monday morning. A senior party official said the Metropolitan Police had informed the party that a demonstrator had tried to access its office at Victoria Street, Westminster. The source said they tried to get in. The police called us because we weren't all there today. They said one member of the staff had been in the office at the time. Extinction Rebellion has published a letter it sent to all the party leaders. It begins, "Today humanity is at a crossroads. Either we unite to prevent the rapidly escalating climate and ecological collapse, or this nation and a global society will disintegrate beyond recognition. Your party has an absolute duty of care for the current and future well-being of everyone in the United Kingdom. It requests that the leaders agree to a 1-hour on-camera meeting with the group as a matter of urgency to discuss the 3 demands." The letter ends with, "This request is being made by Extinction Rebellion to the 7 main parties contesting the UK general election. The responses will be collated and published. Polls show that at this election, the majority of voters will consider party responses to the emergency when deciding how to vote." Let's hope this has the desired effect. I don't know. I hope it does. I think climate change should be the issue at hand and not, Brexit, seems to be the same in the UK as, Russiagate, or, Ukraine, or Trump, or whatever. Like, it's the thing that seems to be the talking point that's on the airwaves all the time. But as in the UK, in the UK as in the US, climate change should actually be front and center, far and above, whatever else is going on our domestic political scene. What happened? Wait, what's going on? I will never forget Assange. What happened, y'all? What is going on? Did something happen to Assange? Hold the phone. Can somebody give me an update? Has XR Henry Holt says, has XR read Arctic News' latest blog? Well, I think that, again, they all know the direness of the situation. They all know. I mean, Roger Hallam is fully aware. And good day to you, Henry. Roger Hallam is fully aware that it's that we're in bad shape. They all know. Gail Bradbrook knows. They all are very aware that we're rapidly sliding down the chute into oblivion. But I think their take is that if you're doing anything else but trying to find a solution or alert people to what the problem is, that you're it's a moral imperative for them, and I agree with their moral imperative. No matter whether. Well, so here's my other. Okay, nothing happened to Assange. Okay, good. You had me. You scared me. Natural progressive. I was like, tell me he didn't. Anyway, so what I was going to say was this. When a few years into me, understanding or beginning to understand what the climate crisis was about, and after discovering Guy McPherson and other people who were talking about, the climate situation as bad as it was. About 2015, 2016, there were a lot of people on the economic news front, and I think Guy McPherson even said this a few times. It was like, this is it. This is the year we go down the tubes. This is, it's all over. And at the time I was kind of living my, I took these warnings seriously, and I started to live my life in a way of like, well, that's it. That's, here we go. And it's now 2019, almost 2020. We're a month away from 2020. And everything is, nothing is collapsed. We do have some extreme weather events happening. We have, not good things happening. We have 500,000 homeless people in the state of California. I mean, really horrible things are happening. Indigenous people are being murdered in Bolivia. There are coups, attempted coups everywhere in the world, supported by the U.S. Horrible things are happening. But we haven't collapsed yet. We're not, and we haven't had climate collapse, and we haven't had economic collapse. So here we are, almost 4 years later, after, so I'm just saying, take the Arctic News. I think the Arctic News blog is a really good source of information. And I think they're not lying to you, and they're not trying to base their predictions on, they're just not pulling stuff out of their butts. They're basing stuff on evidence, on scientific evidence and other sources. But I think it's just one possible reality out of many, or one possible trend line, if you will, out of many. So, you could take that serious. You could say we've got 13 months left, and we could all be sitting here in 2024 and being reasonably in the same space. And that would be ridiculous if you didn't take any action to, do something about the problem, to alert people, to, try and support some kind of solution or better way of living, or at least, that people know what's going on so that they can act in better ways, towards the end. I don't know. Valhalla says, Kevin, you should do a clothing line, secondhand by Kevin, and you would be a designer too. I do t-shirts. Oh, hey, Black Bear t-shirts. If anybody wants a Black Bear t-shirt, please hit me up at blackbearnews at Gmail. I'm actually going to throw a link on here if you guys want to do that. I'm not really, but some people have been talking about the t-shirts lately, and I just figured I'd throw it out there. If you guys are wondering how to get one, you can get one from me. Charles Oakley says, soon as body count goes on fast, the shit hits the fan. If somebody used to be is used to loads of junk food, bad news, frugal eaters will fare better. And that's I think the best thing that you can do is start to live your life in a way, start to train yourself to live with less, to eat sparingly, or to live with having less gadgets or conveniences, or turn down your heater and learn to live in colder weather, or learn to live without the AC. I do that all the time. In the heat of the summer, we don't have AC in my house, and I try to go I don't really turn on the AC in my car, because I'm just trying to get myself used to existing in that temperature. S. Shiva says, good morning, hello, or afternoon, evening to everyone. Philip Sager says, Assange charges dropped 2 days ago, but Google search shows not one national news source has carried the news. Is that for real? Holy moly. All right. So I'm going to have to seek that out. Thank you, Philip, for the heads up. I appreciate it. We've got about 10 minutes left, guys. Please like the video. We've got good amount of viewers, and thank you all for being here. Donald, hello. Yeah, I mean, t-shirts. People need t-shirts. They need clothing. It's not, I buy all my clothing secondhand except for the t-shirt. I made this t-shirt, so there you go. And it's probably my favorite t-shirt. So let me move into this last article. We have almost 80 viewers, so thank you all for being here. Anthony Davis says people are hoarding bottled water. I see it every day. I go shopping for groceries. What is wrong with these people? I mean, if you really thought it was about to go down, I'd hoard bottled water too, I guess. Bottled water is, pretty cheap buy right now. But if we have any kind of collapse, bottled water will be expensive indeed. So I wanted to move on to see if I can get a couple articles in before we sign off. So this is from November 19th. Greta is right. Study shows individual lifestyle change boosts systemic climate action. This is from Jeff McMahon from Forbes. The climate movement has been riven lately by a debate pitting individual lifestyle change against systemic change as if the two compete. They do not. Many experts contend both are needed. They absolutely are, and new research links them even more closely. The public is more likely to support systemic action, the study finds, if those advocating it have a low carbon footprint. It is really important that scientists or other messengers who communicate with the public model those behaviors that reduce carbon emissions to drive their point home. One of the authors, Professor Elke Weber, said in an interview released yesterday by Princeton University. Our new research showed that the carbon footprints of those communicating the science not only affects their credibility, but also affects audience support for the public policies for which the communicators advocated, said Weber, the Associate Director for Education at Princeton's Andlinger Center for Energy and Environment. The study titled Climate Change Communicators' Carbon Footprints Affect Their Audience's Policy Support may explain why Greta Thunberg has succeeded more than others at communicating the climate crisis and galvanizing social action. Thunberg has insisted on individual change and modeled it, while advocating systemic change. The implications of these results are stark. The authors write in the journal Climatic Change. Effective communication of climate science and advocacy of both individual behavior change and public policy interventions are greatly helped when advocates lead the way by reducing their own carbon footprint. Yeah, we can all call ourselves hypocrites and we can all talk about people being hypocrites, but a really good way to communicate is to put your money where your mouth is or to walk the walk. Salt and Bev's bottled water is 1,500 times the price of tap water, but it's still hella cheap. I mean, I saw a whole huge, whatever you want to call it, tray of bottled water for like $2. So you can stack those things like head high for like $10. Maybe not $10, $20, but pretty high. Donald McCarthy. I got to read that. That's funny. Water is just piss minus the good bits. All right. Henry Holt says we are burning up down here. Fire-wise, heat-wise, drought-wise, all of the above. Which one is it? Solar is still the way to go. Yeah, I know. Australia and the Far East seem to be getting the worst of the climate catastrophes and extremes. And it is, I watch what's going on in Australia and also, Japan, Indonesia, China, and India with, a heavy heart, because they just seem to be getting extreme weather every week. Natural Progressive, have a good one. Thanks for joining us on your lunch. I appreciate you. Thank you. She says, keep supporting Super Chat if you can. Cash App, YouTube gets nothing. If you Cash App, YouTube gets nothing. Mark Plant says, I walk the talk. Clothesline, reel mower, compost pile, wood stove, solar hot water, and PV electric car, plugged-in hybrid, LED lights, all work. Less energy, saving carbon. Thank you, Mark, for doing your part. I appreciate you. And that's how you got to do it. You got to model the behavior for other people. And we are all, I wanted to read this comment from Realize, before we go, because he said something along the same lines. Let's see if I can find this pretty quickly. But I really liked this comment, and it was on the subject of being a hypocrite. Where are you? Here we go. He says, I've educated hundreds of people about the reality of our situation, and when those people finally grasped the weight of the situation, I couldn't even say that word for a second, every single one of them did the math as it related to their own lives, not concerned about the younger generations. And maybe that's normal, but it bothers me every time I encounter it. You're not a hypocrite before you're educated. Once you're educated, if you're not in a process of transition to minimize your life and impact on the living world, then you're the worst kind of hypocrite. Exactly. It doesn't mean you can't fly or drive or whatever, but you should be downshifting and beginning the process of changing your life and the lives of those you can influence. Those who are not educated are not to blame at all. How could they be? It's just the hard truth. If you're educated and this is just entertainment for you, you better take a long, hard look in the mirror. Don't get your yin in a yang and avoid being a dick. I really like that comment from Realize. Thank you, Realize, for that. Zoxalix says, few weeks until the next YouTube purge. Yeah, December 10th is when the new terms and conditions kick in, and who knows I don't know what that means. Trisha Francesca says, Australian economy on slide. They also are the harbingers of what looks to be like a global economic downturn or collapse, if you will. Who knows how far it's going to go. But yeah, they're having a problem. Henry, I know you can attest to that. Fires, Henry Holt says, fires are catastrophic. Drought gets worse. Heat getting hotter. 44C yesterday. Good God. What is that? 110 or something like that? Is that right? 110 Fahrenheit? I feel like that's close. Walk, don't drive, buy a bike already. I have a bike. I'm trying to get out of the job that I have that requires me to drive. But I've downshifted quite a few things in my life. I don't travel for a living, which I used to, and I don't intend to travel for a living in the future. I'm kind of giving it up. Charles Oakley, thank you. Take it easy. Have a good one. Thanks for joining us. Don't drink tap water. Well, we actually have pretty good tap water here. So I do drink the tap water. And it is cheaper and it is better for the environment. And I don't believe in plastic. I buy as little. That's one of the ways in which I've downshifted my life. I buy very, very little plastic. Like I make sure to buy everything that I possibly can in a glass jar, or a cardboard box or paper. I use very, very little plastic, and whatever comes in plastic, I try to reuse the plastic that it comes in, right? Like plastic bags or containers, I try to reuse all that stuff, so that they're not constantly cycling into the system. Yeah, the real estate market. The real estate market is overinflated everywhere, especially LA and San Francisco. California can be a really good poster child for an overinflated housing market, and who knows how long that's going to last. Not long, probably. Boil your tap water. It's good. Good advice. Hey, Sean, how you doing? We're just about to sign off, but I'm glad you made it for the last like 2 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you're getting your tap water from. I live in a place where I'm actually right next to a mountain, and we actually get our water from like a source, like a water source that's very local. So it's actually delicious tap water. But I'm one of the lucky ones. If you live down in like Los Angeles in the valley, in the basin, did I have spit on myself? I'm sorry. If you live down in the basement, it's pretty disgusting, the tap water. It's not good. Oh, I was close. Sultan Bev says 44C is 111 Fahrenheit. I was off by 1 degree. Valhalla. Yes, actually, I did want to do a thing about homeless in LA. On my Instagram, I was going to start doing like a video picture documenting of the homeless situation in LA. I started to do it, and then I have so many things that I'm doing that it's hard for me to focus on too many projects at once. But it's something that I've been wanting to do, definitely. Yeah, Sean, I'm sorry about that. I started like 2 hours early. That's why we're here. I had to change my schedule around a little bit. I'll try and be a little better about being at the time that I predicted next week. Speaking of next week, we will be on Thursday for a live stream next week. I don't know what time yet. I'll just have to update you. Oh, wait, hold on. Next week is Thanksgiving, next Thursday. Maybe we're not on for, you know what? Let's do Friday live stream next week. I think that would be a better day. So we're going to move the Thanksgiving Day live stream to Friday. But I'll give you guys an update. And lastly, I wanted to remind you guys that the Patriot Act was renewed in Congress while everybody was paying attention to the impeachment hearings and everything else that was going on. They just snuck it through Congress, lickety split. So all those resistance Democrats, they don't have a problem with the Patriot Act. They don't have a problem with NSA spying. They don't have a problem with violating your privacy rights. Not in the least. So I'm going to link this below. And I think that I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. A wonderful time as always. Until next time, peace. Oh, Karen Daly, happy birthday, Thanksgiving. Happy birthday. Enjoy.